But it was a great season. A lot of great bakes.
Oh, I love a great bake.
I love a good
loaf.
crust.
Yeah, yeah. My mom, whenever she bakes things now, or my dad bakes things, we always do the little test at the bottom.
Nobody wants a soggy
The
bottom.
scrape.
Nobody wants a soggy bottom. Yeah. Or my mom starts saying like, "Oh, I hope it doesn't get claggy."
Claggy.
Claggy. Yeah, you learn a lot.
Very cute.
Speak of feel good, this is our palate cleanser. Am I right?
Hell yeah.
Oh, hell yeah, it is.
Ah,
And are we ready for it?
I think so.
I think
Okay,
we're
let's
so
go.
ready.
A well-behaved woman is trim and proper. Chores always done, not a hair out of place. When the husband comes home, she greets him with a smile.
I'm sorry, what the fuck?
Are you tired of Hitler?
I feel no shame.
Okay, one liar as a kid can find another liar.
I want that stricken from the record.
How else is she gonna learn if she doesn't have a feather?
I could go fuck in the big house.
You're a mess, girl. I am here to audition for Babysitters Club extras.
I brought my own hammer.
That would be fun.
that'd be
We were
great.
talking about doing the Crown watch party.
The crane.
The Crown.
Yeah, I think you would have a lot of fun
Nine.
making fun of
Oh,
them.
I do. Annika watches it, so I've seen a lot of it.
Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
That would be fun if it's something you're interested in.
I relentlessly make fun of them because they're all horrible.
That's exactly. They're all bad
they're
people.
all terrible.
Yeah, it's all bad.
But what's her nuts that plays Umbridge, that plays the queen, is
Yes.
it might be the most
Imelda
perfect casting.
Staunton.
Really, really well.
She's just a perfectly hateable. Like she does. Like I don't know what her feelings about the queen were, but she really makes her seem like a cunt and does a great job at it.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
and this
she was
whole
kind of at
show
that time.
kind of shows
But that
like
actress is known for that, so I wonder. Like I hope
True.
she's not actually like that. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah. I always
She was
hear.
such a good Umbridge. You believe that she's that. You know what I mean?
Well, think about like the guy who played Joffrey.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
He's like supposed to be the nicest guy,
And
but he
quit
plays.
acting because he got bullied so much.
He got
for
bullied
being
so much because he
Joffrey.
did a good job.
Yeah.
He did exactly what it was
Yes.
made
Wait,
of
who
him, and
Joffrey
everybody
did
hated
it?
him.
He did his
quit?
homework. He did what was asked of him, and now people have made so much terrible fun of him that he quit acting.
oh my god.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I think that might be the same with Imelda Staunton, I think is her name.
I think you're right. Yeah,
But I know it's Imelda because I'm like, ooh, cool name.
Imelda is a cool name.
Such a cool name.
You want to get started?
Oh yeah.
Let's do it.
Woo!
Welcome back to another episode of Well Behaved Women.
Another episode.
If you're joining us for the first time, welcome to Well Behaved Women, a podcast where we campfire style chat about badass ladies of history who were either good or evil. We're not really sure. Sometimes they're great. Sometimes they're not so great. They are dynamic and impactful regardless, nonetheless. We are all three back together again after a couple of weeks apart. Obviously, the girls recorded last week, which was super cool, but I couldn't be there.
Reunited and it feels so good.
So good. But we are here to do another episode. We've been doing some kind of heavy ones, but historical and important nonetheless. Trying to spread the good word. So today we have a palate cleanser, more of an uplifting tale, or so we're told. We will
So we're
find out.
told. Yeah,
Well,
that's true.
I considered it a palate cleanser after I did the research.
Yet to be seen.
So we'll hopefully
TBD.
that translates into some.
I'll be the judge of this.
All right. So on this year, let's get started.
On this year in history.
The Liberty Bell is cracked while being rung for a celebration of George Washington's birthday.
Oh, yes.
The New Zealand Constitution Act, the first one, is written. It would give New Zealand control of its own land, but the British governor manages to quash it before it ever takes off, so the act never comes to fruition.
Well, fuck.
The Electric Telegraph Company is founded in Britain. Neptune is observed for the first time by Johann Galle and Heinrich d'Arrest, and Texas becomes a state.
Oh, see, I even took a year of Texas history. I should know. What I do know about Texas is the state motto is friendship, which is ironic. I'm going to guess 1805.
Okay. What do you got?
I know you're close because I know that the Liberty Bell was cracked very early on into its existence.
Yeah.
The question is really, when did Texas become a state? And I do think it is close to 1800 as well.
What was yours again?
1805.
1805.
I'm going to guess like 1780.
Okay.
Well, wait. George Washington died in 1799. I'm going to guess 1800.
Okay.
Final answer?
Hannah gets it.
I do?
Yeah.
Is it
How
like
close was I?
1810?
No, it was 1846.
Oh, it's a
Oh,
lot
I
later.
was
okay,
way off.
okay,
A lot
okay.
later, yeah.
We
They
played it
were-
a little
Yeah,
too
you're both
safe.
way off.
Right,
but
no problem.
Do we celebrate
technically-
George Washington's birthday anymore?
What?
Do we celebrate George Washington's birthday, or do we just lump him in with President's
It's,
Well, now
Day?
it's
President's Day.
President's Day.
Yeah.
Oh, bummer.
Yeah.
Lincoln and Washington's birthdays were on very close dates. So
Can
they,
you remember? Like,
yeah.
yeah,
They
but
met in the middle or some
I would
shit.
love like a George Washington commemorative cup or something. You know,
Okay.
I'm sure I could go get one.
George Washington is quite a
Controversial figure.
Yes, he is.
Yes, he's one of the least controversial of the founding fathers.
Yeah, for sure.
Really?
That's
Okay.
fair.
Yeah, I mean, like, was known to he freed all his slaves when he died, like,
Oh, he did?
you know, shit
Yeah.
like that. He didn't want to be president because that defeated the whole purpose of what they were doing by getting rid of a monarchy and one person
Yeah,
running everything.
he set the standard of 2 terms.
Yeah, well, he did do that, although it wasn't a legal rule, which is why
No.
FDR was allowed to run so many times. Until after that, they put a kibosh on
It was
that.
just like a manner, like I'm gonna be respectful to the office, and it was just a it was an
Yeah.
unwritten tradition.
He was also a fucking giant redhead with wooden teeth.
Is he a redhead?
Well,
Yes.
not just wooden teeth, but like horse and slave teeth.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a
Have you
giant
seen
ginger.
the pictures of those fuckers?
Oh, it's
I
terrifying.
have
Oh my
not.
God,
But I'm
it's
getting my
terrible.
phone out.
He was like 6'2" in 1700. Like 6'2" in 1700 is a fucking giant.
Yeah, respect.
If
I
you
will
guys,
say.
okay, this is a random tangent, but plug here. If you guys are interested in weird old discussions of teeth, one of the early episodes of The Dollop has one called
Ooh.
Imperial Teeth. It's within the first probably 20 episodes.
Weirdly
but-
enough, I am interested in this topic.
It's no, they're fucking crazy. They're insane.
They told us his teeth are made of wood in school to soften the blow. 'cause
Yeah,
they did-
why?
Yeah.
The truth is that they were wooden bases, but they were horse and slave teeth.
I can definitely see where they had some horse teeth.
Yeah, it's fucking nuts.
But the front ones honestly didn't look too bad.
People teeth.
But the bottom ones, ooh,
Those
They're
were
rough.
people teeth taken from slaves.
Yes.
taken from slaves.
Yep.
Yes.
I hate that.
Or taken from their bodies.
Yep.
I hate that. I still don't really like him now.
pretty
Even though he
gross,
freed
right?
his slaves, you still took their teeth.
Yep.
That's how he's controversial.
Yeah, okay.
There's a lot going on here.
I'm glad I learned this.
People are layered, man.
Yeah.
Onions.
Onions.
Ogres are like onions.
We were talking about Shrek earlier. Gonna watch it. It's on, I think, Hulu.
Parfaits. Parfaits have layers. I'd rather be a parfait than an onion.
I want to be an onion.
I want to be a delicious.
make you cry.
I'm with Shrek. I want my own swamp with my own mud, and I want to be an onion.
All right. So with that, we're gonna get started.
Oh, yeah.
All right.
I want to be an onion. T-shirts incoming.
I do want to be an onion. Because women don't want to be a monolith. We want to be onions.
I'd rather be an onion.
Just like it's a person with kind of like daydreaming in a little thought bubble where there's like a little onion just kind of skipping through a field.
Yeah.
Oh, see, now I want to be a woman on a T-shirt putting on an onion costume.
Like an onion coat.
No, an actual, like she's stepping into a giant, like,
I am
those
the onion, and the onion is
styrofoam
me.
mascot suits.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
I am
Your
the onion.
onionisms.
Oof.
Instead of I am the walrus, I am the onion.
There you go.
Great. Caroline Amelia Moore was born into anything but a boring family in November 1846.
Uh-oh. See, now...
Anything but boring.
Yeah, that
Anything but boring.
spells trouble.
I'm sniffing it.
George Moore was a farmer. He was a stock trader, a slave owner, and a fairly rich white man living in Kentucky.
Fuck that.
His wife, Mary Campbell, thought she was in line to be next the Queen of England, more specifically, Queen Victoria.
Why?
Her aunt thought she was a weather vane,
What's that?
and one of their cousins decided quite suddenly one day that for the rest of their life, they just wanted to walk on all fours.
Interesting.
Yep.
Dog
Okay.
people.
They identify as a quadriplegic. Or, no, not that.
Nope.
No,
just
that is
They
not
could.
just
That's
that
not
is-
the same thing,
no,
but
that
they
is not what
could.
a quadruped.
yeah,
I hate myself.
Listen,
quadrupedal. Yeah,
from here
that's
on
fine.
out, I identify as a quadriplegic. My uncle was one. I can say that.
So I
meant quadruped.
I dated a guy that was quadriplegic for a little while, and I was telling one of my friends about how I had just gone on a date with this guy, and she was listening, and she was really polite, and she was like, "Oh, okay," and then I said something about like we were going kayaking. And she was like, how can he? She thought he was a quadruple amputee. She was like, how can you date someone that doesn't have arms or legs? And I'm like,
whoa.
Oh, no, that's not what. No. That's.
No.
You're so close.
Yeah, my brain just mixed up words.
Yeah.
Yeah. How dare you, brain?
She's like, I was on board before. No legs or arms.
But we did go kayaking, and it was really fun.
Excellent.
It was like, so they have, those little beach kayaks that you can rent, like right on Alki. It was really fun.
I should go kayaking.
I'm just picturing prosthetics especially made for kayaking.
No, he had partial use of his arms.
Sure, of course.
So was able to go out and we just helped him
I'm
get down.
the amputee thing, though.
Yeah.
Now that's in my head.
Prosthetic arms.
Uh-huh.
Prosthetic kayaking arms.
Yeah, that like clip onto an oar. You know
and then
I
they
mean?
just rotate themselves.
I'm sure somebody could 3D print anything.
Yes.
Amazing.
It's like pedaling a bicycle.
No, that's
right?
great.
It's like the same. Man.
It's the same mechanisms. Yeah.
We have the technology. We can rebuild him.
With 3D printers,
So
it's cheaper
theoretically, now we really could build somebody like Darth Vader.
I mean, the $6 million man, not $6 million anymore if you've got a 3D printer.
That's true.
And the plans. I mean,
just
now
like
we got to
$50,000.
recalculate.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's
could
for
be.
parts of material.
Yeah.
It could be
but
more,
labor
it could be
is
more
free.
or less expensive depending on how you look at it.
Well, true.
Is he a weapon? Did the military build him? $6 billion man.
Oh, shit.
Uh-huh.
He's laser guided.
Lethal.
He comes with drones.
Yeah. I am a jet.
He talks to aliens.
He's just another one of the cousins.
He is an alien. Boom. Plot
was it
twist.
a Black Hawk? What's the new fucking fighter jet that they have? He's like a transformer.
Yeah.
No idea. Yeah.
Fucking insane.
Excellent.
Shoot off into the sky. Mm-hmm.
As mentioned, Mary thought that she was the queen to be.
Interesting.
Yes. She would conduct her servants around with her royals' orders with this and that.
No.
The slaves did have to play along with this.
No.
And George would construct elaborate sets to go along with her ideas.
Elaborate sets.
He even had a fucking carriage built for this woman to ride around the property.
Can you imagine what the servants probably said when they had to like play along with this shit and they're building sets and they're just like, this is my fucking, I'm not even
This is
getting,
a game to you?
I'm not getting paid.
This is my fucking career. What are we talking about here?
It's not a career. This is my life.
All right.
She's a
pull the curtain.
mad woman.
Action.
And scene.
She's got like a director and a choreographer now.
There's a little piano player in the end, just like,
Oh, these
please
poor
let
people.
me go. Bum 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 bum.
Oof.
Oh, God.
Unsurprisingly, George and Mary moved quite a few times during Carrie's childhood.
I wonder why.
The excuse was business, but I'm also willing to put money on the fact that when word got out about Queen Mary will be Victoria, things just got weird to the point of like,
can't show your face.
yeah, you kind of got to get out of there after that.
Yeah.
And then eventually Princess Queen Mary, who would be Queen Victoria, eventually became the fake real Victoria. So like she one day she just decided she had ascended her throne. Now she's actual queen.
See, I like
And is
Bake
Queen
Off,
Victoria
but this
alive
is why
or
I hate
dead?
British people.
She waited and then she waited her turn and then she decided she was going to be it.
Is Queen Victoria alive or dead during this time?
I don't fucking know.
All right.
Probably well dead.
I don't know. It's the 1800s.
Or maybe recently dead. I have no idea.
No, I think she's alive. It's 1840 something. I
41-ish.
think I'm going to look it up.
Well, born, so now we're in the 1860s.
Well, Queen Victoria is not
Right.
the main attraction here. We're talking about Queen Mary, who's now Victoriaing as Queen Victoria.
Yes.
So just popped off.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
My head just popped off. How does anybody follow any of this bullshit?
So after moving
Fucking English people.
So after some moving hither and yon, they got to Missouri, but then the Civil War broke out, so George moved the family and all their enslaved people down to Texas.
Naturally.
Of
Naturally.
course.
Missouri's not
Because
going to
don't
let us
forget,
keep our slaves.
it's about friendship.
It's about friendship. That didn't go
Not
very
at
well.
all.
Yeah, so they went back to Missouri, which also wasn't doing great.
Yeah, apparently Missouri was on the fence.
Quite literally.
So
Yeah.
by the end of the
Mason-Dixon line.
Exactly.
and by the end of the war, they were right on it. So they were in Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay, shit. They're in the middle of tension.
Yeah. Carrie helped nurse soldiers back to health after battles, particularly like one specific battle in Independence. They had lost a lot of people and they had a lot of injuries or whatever. Independence Mo. And when the war ended, they went back to the family farm that they'd left so many times before. They just had this plantation, or basically plantation farm, whatever, out in the country that they had kept having to just abandon.
I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Independence, Missouri hasn't changed since then either.
No, not at all. So Carrie's taking care of soldiers. They're injured in war, and her parents board those soldiers at their home hotel thing that they ran. It was like a boarding house or whatever. Mm-hmm. And one of them was a man named Charles Gloyd.
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 Lloyd, but with a G. Gloyd.
Gloyd had fought for the Union and was a physician, and Carrie was very smitten with him.
Excellent. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good starting off point.
So she asked her parents for permission to marry Charles.
Okay. How old is he, we think?
I think he was like in his 20s.
Okay. So it's age appropriate-ish.
For the time, yeah,
For
kind
the
of.
time. Big asterisk.
She's not
But she's like,
12.
oh, please, oh, please, oh, please, oh, please.
Mommy,
oh, please,
I love
oh, please.
him.
I love him. Can I marry him?
Yeah, she's probably like 18, 20-ish.
Yeah.
You would hope.
Carrie's parents saw very clearly what Carrie couldn't. Charles was a raging alcoholic and a fairly mean one, obviously.
Oh, shit. You don't love him, girl.
Yeah, don't go loving on this man. Carrie's parent, but they also had a daughter that would not be swayed and could bully them into what she wanted.
Oh, shit, girl. Don't do
Bully.
that.
I'm going to say that, and I'm going to say it again and again.
Fuck.
Eventually, they relented and let the two married, which was immediately a huge mistake as Charles got hammered on his wedding night, causing the first of what would be many, many fights about the topic.
Hammered on
fuck.
hams.
All right, some context.
Hit me. Hit me.
Women still don't exist as people in the eyes of the law. They're property. It's the end of the war, and women are the homemakers.
Yep.
If their husband is a lush, he damn well better be a functional one, because the husband still needed to be the one to provide for his family.
I fought in the war, damn it.
Well, if you're drinking, you better be out working at the same time.
I'm retired.
We still need an income.
You're not retired, Daddy.
You just
I'm
made
injured.
me have 7 children, okay? One right after another, and nah.
That's the Lord's work.
Nope.
That is not the Lord's work.
That's the devil's doing.
Ooh.
Especially that 4th one right there. I'm pretty sure he's the Antichrist.
Well, he's got goat eyes.
Those weird rectangles.
Are
Yeah.
we talking about Timmy?
Or Lucifer.
Oh, shit. Lucy, that's right.
Meh.
Shut up.
So, Charles was an alcoholic, but he wasn't a functional alcoholic. And he spent a lot of his free time at the Masonic Lodge, doing like Mason things.
Mason.
drinking.
Just Mason things.
like
drinking.
Freemason?
Yes.
Yeah.
Actually?
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Have you ever driven past a Masonic Lodge?
I don't think I've paid enough attention to know.
They're very
So-
unassuming usually.
I would
pass like
imagine.
a KC Hall or an Elks Club? Any
No.
of that ring a bell to you at all?
I mean, I've heard of an Elks Club because I remember
American
growing
Legion.
up watching the Flintstones. He had like the Water Buffalo Club or
Yes.
something. I have no
Yeah.
idea.
Yeah.
So basically, these are started as like post-war, like veteran hang spots. Like
Veterinary. There's dogs
I almost
and cats.
said veterinary, yeah. But like
okay.
war veterans,
Hangouts.
it was a place where they could come and hang out and drink beer and share war stories, but also the idea, at least what they portray to the public, and a lot of them do this, but some of them are just drinking spots.
Yeah.
Is like to get involved in the community. The Masons in particular are, a Christian-based brotherhood,
Yeah.
but they also are history-based, so they do talk about the founding fathers, and there's a lot of tie-in and education in that way. But it's
Okay.
a men's club.
Okay.
It's a place where men go to hang
Yeah.
out.
I remember looking up
And call
something-
themselves Masters of the Universe.
Yes, correct.
Masters of the Universe.
Most presidents have been Masons.
All right, bud.
Most of the presidents have been Masons.
Yeah, I've heard that there's definitely. I didn't really know they were Masons. I know that like George W. Bush was in Skull and Bones, but
That's another thing. But like our actual Freemasons.
okay. So I remembered when I was interested in writing a story about a woman's secret society. I was looking into initiation ceremonies, and like they're very big on definitely men only. That you have to like bare your chest to make sure you're not a woman. You got to do all of these things
as well.
Ooh, fuck that, dude! People, stop!
That's a whole
Do not
thing.
brand yourselves.
It's a teeny one, but yeah, they all, not all of them, but like
Can I have a
certain
bunny?
ones decide they want to do it. Yeah.
No, I want an elephant. That's
Yeah,
what I
there's a
want.
lot of different shit that goes on. But
Nexium, they had the brands. Remember that?
Oh,
yeah.
shit.
The Keith Raniere.
Man, that's scary.
pretty nuts.
Gary and I were having a conversation the other day about like behaviors of cults. I don't remember exactly what was. I think it was talking about intention. So it was like Jim Jones, I don't think intended to go out. Like, I don't think he started going out thinking he was going to start a cult and murder like 900 people.
Nah, he just got power hungry.
Yeah, he started he was in a church. He served in a community for a long
You
time.
mean his
and
journal
the power
didn't say
got to his
step
head.
1, start a cult?
Yeah. And Gary
Step
was
2,
like,
make Kool-Aid.
but I
Yeah,
don't
right.
think anybody really goes in thinking they're going to start a cult. And I was like, Charles Manson, right away.
Yeah.
I said, Charles Manson. He's like,
He
oh, wow,
absolutely-
you came up with that fast. All right. I defy you to name another Keith Raniere.
But
Who was
there
the
are-
one in Waco?
But, well, I guess maybe name 3. L. Ron Hubbard.
Oh, L. Ron Hubbard for
Like,
sure.
come on.
Scientology, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a very widely known conspiracy theory that Manson as well as Jim Morrison were both government psyops, and that they were like treated with acid essentially, and then just like re-released into the fucking world.
Oh, yeah. I've heard
shit.
a lot
Like
about
a
that.
MK Ultra, if you've ever heard
I
of
have
that.
definitely heard about
That's
that.
the idea. That they were like
They got their heads
sleeper
all full of
cells and-
acid.
Yup, and
Yep.
fucking scrambled their eggs, and then
Yeah.
went, okay, let's see what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, baby, I don't know what to do with that. Scrambled eggs.
Oh,
Another show I want to watch. Are you guys going to watch the reboot?
I'll probably watch it to
Just to
see what it's
see.
about. Yeah, see the nostalgia.
Yeah.
But I doubt I will watch all of it.
Nah. All right. Wow. So she is Victoria. And where were we?
Oh, Mary is Victoria.
Mary
so
is
Carrie
Victoria.
grows up and she
Formerly Mary.
Formerly Mary.
married Queen Victoria.
Queen Victoria, formerly known as Mary.
Yes.
Yeah, oh God.
Like X, formerly known as Twitter.
yeah.
Her daughter, Carrie. Carrie marries. Oh my God. Carrie marries Gloyd.
Now you got me
Gloyd
fucked
is an
up.
alcoholic.
Okay.
So after a few months, she decided that crap marriage wasn't worth the heartache. So she just went back to her parents, but not before being given 2 parting gifts from Charles.
Two black eyes.
Is it twins?
2-cylinder engine.
So the first one, he'd gotten Carrie pregnant.
Ah.
Aha.
I'll get to the second
And
one
then he
later.
punched her.
What?
And then he punched her.
No, I'll get to the second one later.
You're waiting for those.
I know, I was trying to be right. I don't want it to happen.
Yeah, you don't want to be right, but let's see what happens.
So Carrie had the baby, a girl she named Charlene for Dr. Boozy Boy because his name had been Charles.
Okay, when you say Charlene, all I think of is Archer.
Yep, Charlien. So Charlie N.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Charlene.
It would be a fitting memorial for the man because he died about 6 months after Charlene was born.
Well, of course,
Okay.
he drank himself to death.
Yeah.
Yeah, his liver probably wasn't helping.
His liver fucking burst. And I don't know how this really twist of fate occurred, but when he died, his mother and Carrie moved in together. Like, all of a sudden, she was taking care of her
Daughter-in-law?
mother-in-law.
Well,
Oh, she was taking care of
The
her
mother-in-law was kind of sickly, and so Carrie decided she was going to take care of
And
her.
I'm sure it was mutually beneficial. I'm sure that the mother-in-law helped take care of the child. In
Yeah, for
exchange,
sure.
You know what I mean?
Charlene had a whole mess of ailments, both mental and physical. So it probably was a lot of very beneficial because she took a lot of care. She had extensive mental deficiencies and a fucking litany of oral problems that caused her severe lockjaw and a drooping cheek at one point.
Oh, shit.
I don't know what it was, but it made her whole face
Probably
at
messed
some
with her
point.
nerve.
It was crazy. Carrie helped take care of both mother-in-law and daughter. And she also went to school to be a teacher. And for the next 9 years, Carrie worked in one way or another to provide for her weird little family.
All right.
So, when Charlene was 8 or 9, Carrie met another man.
Okay. I'm worried.
Now, Carrie was fucking tired of being a single mom. She'd met this man who also had 2 children and was about 19 years older than she was. Yeah. David Nation was a journalist, a lawyer, a preacher, and in 1874, Carrie A. Moore Gloyd became Carrie A. Nation.
Oh.
This was not a marriage of love, but of convenience for the both of them.
Okay.
He was apparently rather a shriveling man, and she would interrupt his sermons if she thought he was getting a little long-winded for her taste.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. She'd be like, that's enough, David.
Ahem.
Wrap it up. Yeah.
Play the Oscars music.
Yeah.
Play them off.
And meanwhile, David's just trying to be up there like, and, you know, the Lord teacheth patience and understanding. And so the Lord has to remind everyone that they must take their time to get the answers that they need to receive. And
I left the oven on for this.
and where was I? And patience and understanding are virtuous.
Yeah, I knew that's where we were going with that one.
Yeah.
Sheesh. Somebody give me the wine.
So not too long after the marriage, the couple bought a huge cotton plantation in Texas. And they were super gung-ho about the project until they got there, and then they realized neither of them knew how to actually run a cotton plantation.
Hilarious.
Because
the
when
audacity
Carrie
of these rich people.
White people. Yeah.
Well, Carrie had grown up on a plantation, but she had enslaved people running it for her.
Right. She was,
She didn't know what she
in
was
the
doing.
house.
Oof.
So David moved away, and he started practicing law somewhere else to pay the bills, and she took care of the family. Mother Gloyd included. She just came along into the family.
Fuck.
Mother Gloyd.
For a while, they all lived in a hotel together. So it was her mother, her ex-lover's, her ex-husband's mother-in-law, her sickly child, and her 2 new kids, I think, who were still in the house.
I thought they
all
were
of them in a
grown.
hotel.
That's a lot of
Probably
people.
grown, yeah, I guess. If he's 19 years older, probably grown.
Grown-ish.
Still, that's a weird hotel room.
Yeah.
It's all weird.
But eventually they moved to Richmond, Texas, and when they got there, Carrie opened up and operated a hotel. At this point, hotels can be as simple as letting out the extra rooms in a home for some extra income, and they probably had enough money for a house but needed the income to be ongoing to be able to keep it up.
Right.
And one thing Carrie did right from the very beginning, she let in black clients.
All right.
If you needed a room and she had one, it was yours. Didn't much matter who you were or what you looked like.
Yeah.
It wasn't even a slummy hotel. Apparently, Carrie ran a very tight ship and a respectable, establishment.
Nice.
Things were clean. People got taken care of.
Good businesswoman.
Yes. In 1889, because of a political war, the family was once again driven from their homes. They left Texas altogether and moved north to Medicine Lodge, Kansas.
Interesting name.
The Midwest is chock full of
Medicine
weird names like
Lodge.
that.
Where would it get its name?
It's probably based on a Native American.
Could be, yeah. There's places named based on. I need to learn more.
A lodge is a typical name for a Native American dwelling. So it would make sense that's where that came from.
All right, but I guess why the whole... Anyway. Those are my
Yes,
ADHD
what?
thoughts. No, those are my ADHD thoughts. Go ahead. We're learning here.
Kansas, we will find out, is named for a lot of native things.
Okay.
As is Oklahoma and Texas. Just that whole area is named for a lot of tribal words.
A lot of the Midwest.
Yeah.
Got it.
It needs to be noted at this point that Carrie had been kicked out of not one, but at least 2 different churches.
Damn, girl, what you doing in church?
Interrupting the pastors.
Oh, shit.
Being a stuck-up broad.
First it was the Methodists, then it was the Episcopals. You know why? It's because she basically calls out the hypocrisy inherent in the church system, and more than that, the blatant sexism woven into the fabric of the whole community.
Yeah, she didn't like the rules, and so she talked about it.
Exactly.
And all of a sudden, bitch, get out.
She's a witch.
Then there was the Medicine Lodge Christian Church. One Sunday during his sermon, a preacher publicly denounced one of Carrie's neighbors as an adulteress.
Homosexual.
Oh, no.
He did this based on nothing but the drunken accusation of her husband.
Oh.
Fucking...
Because he's trustworthy.
Cheating.
Yeah, drunk people are
slut.
the best.
Yeah. I totally did not get drunk and
Fucking
falsely
bitch.
accused an ex
Yeah.
because he had tiny socks.
I bet
Fucking
she's fucking him too.
cheating on me.
Mm-hmm.
You fucking sleeping around, haven't you been?
That's called
Anyway.
projecting, sir.
99% of the time.
Yeah.
Oh!
She fed that preacher and the whole ass congregation a particularly vitriolic rebuke for their unjust allegations against the innocent woman.
Do we have a quote? I'd love to hear it.
No.
Damn.
But basically it was like,
But she cut a
how
bitch with
fucking
words.
dare you say that kind of shit from the pulpit with nothing but this drunken piece of shit's
Nah.
testimony.
How fucking dare you accuse me or my neighbors of this shit when you guys are a bunch of hypocritical bullshitters?
Yep.
That is excellent.
Oh, it gets better.
Even better?
The church elders tried to bodily remove her from the church.
Oh, I hope they did it themselves and didn't just go for like security. I
no,
want them
she
to...
was solid as a fucking rock. They
Damn
couldn't
straight.
let her. They didn't get rid of her that day.
I've never been ejected from church.
No, I haven't either.
No, they tried to they tried to pick her up and toss her out, and she just wouldn't be moved.
Oh shit.
She was obviously she eventually left of her own volition, and she was kicked out of the parish. So she
I can
wasn't
see I'm
welcome
not
back,
wanted
but
here.
they couldn't get rid of her that day.
Yeah.
So for her hotel, she traveled around the county collecting donations of food, clothing, sundries, and whatever else people could spare for the needy of the hotels.
Sundries.
All right.
Basically, if you have extra, and I know you have extra, my hotel needs it for these people that
Yeah.
come in and
Yeah.
probably need somewhere safe to be.
Right. Love that.
Yeah. She pressured the shopkeepers to donate their extras, and when they tried to deny her, she would remind them that all she had to do was step out on that street and denounce them publicly as, quote, thieving gougers of widows and orphans.
Wow.
She's not wrong.
She's like, look, you give me this, give me
Or
these
I'll tell
donations,
you that you're
or I'll
fucking
go to Yelp.
Yeah.
They're trying to rob me.
I'll go to the current day's version of Yelp, which is anybody within
The
earshot.
street corner where
Put you
all
on
of your
blast.
market is. Yeah.
And then I'll start saying it everywhere else where you won't know where I am.
Oh, boy.
She pretty much always got the donations that she needed. Yeah.
Sounds like she was willing to stiff arm. Or not stiff arm. What's the heart?
Strong arm?
Strong arm. Thank
Yeah.
you.
So Carrie this whole time is getting more and more frustrated with the limitations of women. She's been doing this work. She's like many women we have covered in the past, she's just not afraid to call someone on their bullshit.
Yeah.
Not only did she allow whoever to come into her hotel, but she started to minister to poor folks that were also sitting in a jail cell.
Oh, minister to a captive audience?
No, she would ask if they wanted to kind of sit with her and talk with her.
I don't know what minister, I guess,
She's
meant in that
basically
context.
saying, like, my church kicked me out, so I'll be your pastor.
Okay, cool.
I will do the real work of the Lord and go seek out the misfortunate.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like
okay.
what an actual Christian should be doing.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
see. So she's like, do you want to hear a little bit about the Lord today?
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Okay, cool.
May,
All
I,
right.
may
well,
I help console your soul?
I just hope she didn't say mean things when they said no.
Well, as she ministered to these people, she listened to their stories of why they sat in those jail cells.
see.
And over time, she began to hear the same answer over and over and over again. Booze.
Booze. Oh, I know this lady.
Telegram.
Elsewhere in Prohibition news.
Oh, I was going to say in booze news.
I like
Booze news is better. I love that.
Ah.
I like
Elsewhere
booze
in booze news. Prohibition started earlier some places than in others, and one of the places it started nice and early was in Kansas. The vile fluid had been outlawed since 1881, but the import laws allowed the illegality to basically be a joke. It was illegal, but nobody fucking cared because everyone drank.
Yeah.
Okay, well, every
Man.
man drank. And what happens when men drink too much?
They get violent.
Yeah, they become pieces of shit
They
and
punch
they get
walls
A
and
lot of
parking meters and sometimes your car.
They get fucking rowdy and they get arrested.
Yes, they do. Not all men, but many.
Well,
Many.
And it gets better. Then they get sent on their merry way to the next bar because it's just so fucking common. People like to drink. They get released and they go into the next bar.
They need stamp right on the person's.
Get the fuck out of here.
They need a stamp for the person. They need a stamp for the person's forehead where it's just like, don't let me in.
Yeah.
Just says
No matter what I say.
Just says 0.08 on it.
Yeah. 0.08, 0.6. They're dead.
Stamp your BAC on your forehead on the way out of the bar. Blow here, stamp. Gone.
So Carrie noticed this, and she also noticed that there was a clear delineation of who was enjoying the sweet, sweet nectar of the gods and who was not. Women, as fucking always, were left to deal with their drunk husbands and had basically no recourse.
We got to babysit two now.
Yeah,
Instead of the
we have
one
multiple
kid,
children.
Now I've got two.
All of this had gotten worse over time, and in that time, a movement had sprung up anew. One bit of activism for a group that had no voice. The temperance movement.
I have conflicting feelings on them.
From ancient Greek writer Xenophon, temperance is defined as, quote, moderation in all things healthful, total abstinence from all things harmful. Carrie saw this movement as a worthy cause, something that she could really get behind. After all, she'd lost one husband already to the drink and all those pesky Masonic lodges.
To the drink.
So she decided to join a temperance union, the Women's Christian Temperance Union, to be exact. Other than alcohol, Carrie was decidedly anti-smoking, anti-Masons, anti-foreign foods, anti-corsets, anti-short skirts, anti-sex, anti-politics, anti-William McKinley, anti-Theodore Roosevelt, anti-William Jennings Bryan, anti-any fraternal order, anti-porn, and pro-votes for women.
Can I see that list for a second?
Yep.
She's a real stick in the mud.
How can you be anti-foreign foods, man?
It's like the definition of conservative.
Yeah, she's anti-everything and pro-votes for women.
Pro-votes for women.
She had one thing in the pro column.
Mm-hmm.
In 1894, she and a group of her temperance buddies walked into a pharmacy in Kansas. She called them her, quote, home defenders, as they were defending the right to have their husbands at home.
Excellent.
Great. They look at the pharmacist and they're like, hey, Mr. Pharmacist, what's that back there behind the bar?
Is it cocaine? Because, a lot of things in the pharmacies back then had cocaine.
Yeah. Oh, my God. I know. The morphine and the cannabis and yeah.
Oh, I guess, they had cannabis because they hadn't had a reefer
madness.
Reefer
Not yet.
madness / Canafear.
So they ask the pharmacist, what's that behind the bar? And the pharmacist looks at what they're pointing at, and he looks back at the women. He's like, that barrel, that's nothing. It's just some whiskey. And so the women took the keg, they overturned it, they rolled it out the door, and they smashed the contents on the ground.
Look, I'll say one thing. I don't like that they're doing this to people's ability to drink, but oh my God, would this not be so much fun to do with your lady friends?
And then they set it on fire.
Even more fun.
I know.
The store or the booze?
The booze.
The booze.
Oh.
Just the booze,
but
not the store. They got it out of the store before they set it on fire.
Yeah, but how far away were they? I mean, those
like in the middle of the street.
You think it could be windy that day? It could catch the whole town on fire.
It's reckless.
But fun.
Carrie didn't have any issue with the customers. She didn't even have an issue necessarily with the men who tended the bars serving the customers. She was upset that the illegal serving of alcohol was not only being looked past, but endorsed by officials in the government. Because it was hypocritical as fuck.
And she has a history of hating hypocrites.
Yep. She was mad at the system that allowed and demanded these illegal bars to pop up. She was angry that they were capitalizing on something that was so addictive and took so many men away from their families and jobs. She was angry for all the women she was around all the time, widows to the bottom of a bottle.
I mean, A for effort, girl, passion, A+, but, directing it at, I don't know what else to direct it at. Just not this.
Well, she really feels herself in that cause of temperance, but she's also a suffragist. She thinks votes for women would mean they had more protections in place and the ability to shape how their government around them functioned.
And that I can get behind.
Yes. She had this foolish notion that government was there to help people, and if only women could get the vote, they could help that too.
Yeah, we still sometimes have that foolish notion, you know? I think there's a great way for government to work. We just haven't figured it all out yet.
Anarchy.
For real.
I'm willing to look into it, honestly. I'm willing to look into it.
But anarchy, I say this as I think anarchy is the best way, but also I understand that it falls down from the start, especially in communities that are this big.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work without some sort of organization. Well,
Just take money out of it.
yep.
I say we go after Bezos and Musk.
Bring back FDR's 90% tax for the wealthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we take a look back and take a look at was it the New Deal?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, the beginning of this episode, we talked about some of Carrie's weird family members, right?
Yes, I do. I would love
Yes.
to revisit them. How are they doing?
They're still around, walking
Good.
on all fours, thinking they're the queen.
Good.
Thinking they're a
Excellent.
weather vane.
What is a weather vane?
The thing that moves around that shows you, like, what direction the wind is blowing.
So she's flip-floppy is what they're saying.
She sits on the top of...
oh, no, she's actually up there.
She gets up on the roof and acts like a weather vane.
Oh, I missed
Yeah.
that note. I was like, oh, it's what? She's flip-floppy, something like that? Like
Yeah,
she's
no,
erratic?
She's a
No,
weather
she's
vane.
actually up there
at
with
me,
her
I'm on the
arm
roof.
out,
Yeah.
feeling for the wind.
Yep.
I would love to see pictures, but I don't think they exist.
Speaking of appearances,
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about Carrie's appearance.
Appearance,
Yeah.
physically?
Yes.
Ah,
So, depending on the source, Carrie was either a 5 foot short nothing diminutive woman who had a very loud demeanor,
okay.
or
A Napoleon
or a 6'2" 280-pound giant.
I'm going to go.
Yes. The two dualities.
There are two wolves inside
One
of
or
you.
the other, neither.
Sorry, I was.
There's
I
no
forgot
in
about that
between.
meme. Yeah, there is. There is no in between. One of them is gay.
Good Lord.
Her face was constantly scrunched up like she was upset about something.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess she was probably more diminutive.
Yeah, the story probably puffs up the
Yeah.
legend, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm more willing to believe in women who are like 6'2" now, but back then,
Well, and also, like, you think about, like, all the ancient stories that we know about of these men who are glorious warriors and heroes, and they end up being like 5'5" and fucking
True.
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Historically, we're a short people.
Yeah, it's more likely that the legend of her grew so much that people just started saying that she was a
Yeah.
giant woman because her reputation was so big and her attitude and her strength. You
Yeah.
know?
Probably. So another thing about Carrie, she had loud and long conversations, quite publicly, with Jesus Christ.
fun. I wonder what they.
Wow.
Interesting.
She'd walk down the road in town conversing with the Lord and Savior as though he were right there.
Yeah. So she's
Makes sense.
doing great.
Like,
doing
he would
very
say
well.
things to her that only she could hear, and then she'd just respond and have one half of a fucking conversation.
Excellent. Okay. So we have an idea of what was going on with her mentally.
It was just part of Carrie's charm, I think.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, sure.
But you know, the fact that she's running a hotel and helping people while she's got these Jesus talks going on, lady works hard and she gets by.
She'd done it for a while. It wasn't a new behavior to anyone. And considering her mother thought herself the queen, this is pretty tame.
Gives a little Joan of Arc.
But also, I mean, if she really
a
was
lot.
the queen, wouldn't Carrie have a direct line to Jesus Christ himself?
You'd think. That's
Who
what they tell you
appointed the
anyway.
queen?
Yeah.
Uh-oh,
Yeah.
now we're leaning into Mama's stories again.
Divine future.
There's always a divine element in delusions.
With Jesus by her side, Carrie had the confidence she needed to be able to really go after the booze problem plaguing her towns.
With gusto.
She wrote letters. She protested. She joined many women who would dress in black dresses and stand outside the dens of sin and recite Bible verses. Woe to any who went inside, for they would be subject to the wrath of the temperance bitches.
Exactly. Now, what else did she do? Because she got a little...
Yeah, she gets there.
Are we there
yeah,
yet?
almost.
Almost
yes.
there.
Mhm. Carrie A Nation was quickly proving herself to be a menace to barkeeps everywhere.
Fuck yeah.
They sung hymns, they'd play barrel organs out in front of the bars, and one barkeep even remembers a greeting from Mrs. Nation. Good morning, destroyer of men's souls.
What? This is what I'm talking about with gusto. I mean, she jumped
like
in with both feet first.
And you might be saying to yourself, Lauren, now why doesn't she just call the police on them for operating an illegal bar?
I mean, that would be my first step.
Who
If
the
I were
fuck do you
her.
think is making sure the bar stays open?
That's true. Well, you take away the booze and there's more work for the police officers. There's going to be riots.
She found out after sitting and talking to the prisoners that while all the booze was imported where they were, she could just go down to a town called Kiowa And it was right on that border to Oklahoma where the liquor flowed fast and cheap.
I've been to Kiowa, Kansas.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
What's it like?
Nothing.
That's Kansas in the
A lot of
Midwest.
nothing.
Yeah.
There, they said, the cops didn't give a fuck if you were making your own on this side of the state line. So Carrie and her pal Jesus sat side by side in those jail cells, and they formed a set of opinions. And Carrie went down to Kiowa, and she warned these barkeeps that they needed to shut down so as to save the souls of those poor bastards coming in and getting taken by the drink. The barkeeps laughed her back out of town, but she didn't stop. She left town with samples of all the booze she'd found while in Kiowa, and she went to the county attorney with those bottles, and she brought evidence of the law breaking.
Fucking narc.
And she dropped them all over his table. Here's evidence. They're all keeping their own bars.
All right.
The county attorney, quote, seemed very much annoyed because I asked him to do what he swore he would do.
I mean, yeah, it seems like that's the law. And that's his job, is to uphold the law.
So she continued on with her little protests with her temperance ladies for a time, but the effort seemed all for naught, and she saw all these women gathering day after day for this cause that was just going nowhere. But to change, it was a-coming, and it wasn't going to be from standing out in front of these bars and picketing. No. She and her pal Jesus put together a plan.
Oh, God.
And in the meantime, she also tried to appeal to the state attorney general and also the governor, who could each have given 2 fucks about helping her.
Well, yeah, because, you know, it's
Almost
just a woman squawking.
Yep, well, but it was almost to a suspicious degree, like, really, really didn't want to pay attention, like maybe they had some vested interests in this.
Right, which, of course, was going on. Absolutely.
She concluded, quote, Kansas was in the power of the bitter foe to the Constitution. Carrie had decided to pray to her buddy Lord Jesus for help, and on June 5th, as she woke up, her Lord buddy Jesus decided to get super weird with intertemporal physical play.
Getting freaky with Jesus.
Wait, can you repeat
Getting
that?
freaky with Jesus, yeah.
She got freaky?
She got super weird with intertemporal physical play. So, in her heart...
I didn't know
Sounds
this
kinky.
about her.
Yep. In her heart, Carrie heard a soft musical voice saying, "Go to Kiowa." And in the next moment, her hands were lifted up and thrown down. And then a clear, emphatic, "I'll stand by you," was felt and heard.
Okay.
Quote, I was impressed with a great inspiration. The interpretation was very plain, and it was this. Quote, take something in your hands and throw at these places in Kiowa and smash them.
Yep, here we go. This was her idea.
2 days later, on June 7th, Carrie A. Nation walks into a saloon in Kiowa. She is carrying with her a number of parcels, small and wrapped in brown parcel paper and twine. The saloon is owned by a Mr. Dobson, who was a brother to the county sheriff. She calmly walked up to the barkeep and said, quote, Mr. Dobson, I told you last spring to close this place. You did not do it. Now I have come down with another remonstrance. Get out of the way. I do not want to strike you, but I am going to break this place up.
Okay. I don't think this was the right way to go about things.
And then she took those parcels and she started tossing them in the beers behind the bar.
Woo!
And all those parcels were rocks and bricks.
It's the most fun way to protest. But,
amazing, yes.
But
So
not the right way to do things.
She threw what she had, and when she was finished throwing, she started smashing things. And the men in the bar huddled together in a little corner, solidly freaking out by what the fuck this woman was doing.
She gave you a warning.
When Carrie was finished with the projectiles she'd brought with her and smashing what was within an arm's reach, she expanded her gaze. What hadn't already been smashed by her quote-unquote smashers were finished off by the billiard balls and cues she grabbed to finish the job.
Oh, that's gonna fuck shit up.
So she finished all that. You know, job well done. She walked right out of that saloon, across the street, and right into another one.
Oh.
And at the second bar, she did the same fucking thing.
Wonder what the huddled up guys that were like, oh God, she's gone. And then they start hearing all the same shit going on right across the street.
People were just shocked, and they kind of just watched her wreak havoc. They were like, what are we going to do? Exactly.
I would be watching.
But
absolutely.
also,
and then I'd follow her to the next one and just kind of stand outside and look in the doorway.
But also, she still had these temperance people that were kind of going around the county. And so she went down there, and they were watching. And so some people are cheering her on.
Okay.
Other people are pleading with her to stop.
Yeah, like
but most of them are just watching in awe.
I just wouldn't say anything.
Yeah, you just watch
I would
and
just
watch and watch. Yeah. So the whole time she's kind of ranting and raving about the Lord and the sins of the business owners and the pitiable drunkards who frequented these predatory places. I get it. She was doing this first thing in the morning. There were dudes already there drinking at like 8:30 a.m. I get that.
Yeah.
Quote, the smashing in Kansas was intended to strike the head of this nation the hardest blow. For every saloon I smashed in Kansas had a license from the head of this government, which made the head of the government more responsible than the dive keeper. I broke up 3 of these dives that day, broke the windows on the outside to prove that the man who rents his house is a partner also with the man who sells.
This is a real hard stance, ma'am.
Right. So the authorities obviously took notice, and so they gathered in the streets, and they were now with the townsfolk, and they're watching all of this unfold, and they're trying to figure out, like, what the fuck
what
do we do? And it's not just the cops, it's the marshal, the mayor, the attorney, this whole fucking town came out and was watching this woman do this. And she said, I've destroyed 3 of your places of business. And if I have broken a statute of Kansas, put me in jail. If I am not a lawbreaker, your mayor and your councilman are. You must arrest one of us, for if I am not a criminal, they are.
All right. That's true. She's putting them in a very telling spot. Whether they stop her and then it's like they're defending something that's against the law, which is not their job.
Yeah.
Or they basically destroy whatever it is they're invested in.
Right. So the officials decided against charges that day. Carrie returned home a free woman, and she had the mother of all fucking reputations after that moment. She'd saunter her ass around the county, walking up to storefronts of bars, and for months she just needed to give a fucking look, and they'd shutter the doors. They're like, nope, we don't want to do any business with you.
Yeah.
And sometimes she'd actually sit and have chats with the barkeepers about the error of their ways. But either way, business died when Carrie A Nation came rolling through.
Yeah.
She also had a fan club.
Oh, that's fun. Did she get fan mail?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see how that went.
Well, so she's got her temperance ladies that are all the more than happy to walk up right behind her and hype her the fuck up. And then they helped her with the threats of smashing, and then they helped her smash. But the other part, the stunt in Kiowa, made her an overnight celebrity with a bunch of newspapers. And so media came in from out of town, and they literally followed her through the streets.
That's all she needs.
Yeah.
Celebrity status.
Oh, no, it gets better. So slowly but surely, these bars in southern Kansas are all shuttering, and she realizes she can set her sights higher. She needs to go on a nice little press tour. So on December 28th, Carrie A Nation rode up north to Wichita. I decided to go to Carrie for several reasons. It was the most dangerous, being the finest. The low doggery will take the low and keep them low, but these so-called respectable ones will take the respectable, make them low, and kick them out. So it's like, this is a fancy bar, and and they corrupt people by taking all these high-class people and turning them into scoundrels. She goes to the Carrie Hotel, and she starts hurling rocks through this stained glass window. And there's a huge nude painting of Cleopatra inside the hotel, and she rips it up.
Oh.
She brought an iron rod with her this time. She was prepared with a reusable weapon, right?
Oh, that's terrifying. You could really fuck people up.
She smashed the fuck out of that bar and caused $3,000 in damages. And so for this, they actually threw her in jail, and she served like 7 weeks. 3 to 7 weeks, depending on the source. So she gets out, and her husband David is there to pick her up.
Oh.
David's still around.
Honey, what did you do this time?
He's still around, just in the background.
Man.
It's so fucking strange,
I wonder what his opinion was.
Oh, God. Not good.
You would hope he'd be supportive, though.
Well, she literally doesn't believe in sex. Like, come on.
Oh, like for anybody?
Anybody at all.
Then okay, the human race is going to die, ma'am.
It's only for procreation.
Oh, that's what she's talking about.
Yeah. So
okay.
and so she, and by this time she has engaged the temperance cause. She's pretty much abandoned him, like emotionally by this point.
Well, yeah.
But he picks her up anyway, and on their way back, he jokes that she could do way more damage with something like a hatchet.
Yeah, he fucked up right there.
Carrie looks over at him and she's like, "Okay, that might be the smartest thing you've ever said in your life."
Uh-oh.
So she grabbed herself a hatchet and she went to work.
Oh, Carrie.
Yeah. She goes on a little tour of smashing
She brought
bars.
her own axe.
Yes. So she received a request from people in Enterprise about a bar that was in their town, and she needed to she needed to come in and save the women of that town from the bar that was ruining all their men.
Wow.
So fresh out of jail and armed with a hatchet, she goes to Enterprise and she walks into this bar and she berates the guy while she smashes away, shaming him for the trade the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
And this would be called a hatchetation.
A hatchetation.
Yes. Once the job was finished, she stood on the street corner and continued to shame him publicly for the town to see. So not only does she shame him while she's smashing his bar, but then once she's fucking done, she goes out on the street corner and she still continues to yell at him and berate
talk
him.
Massive shit.
Yeah. Mrs. Schilling, being none too happy about the loss of their family trade, walked up and punched Carrie in the face. Carrie fell back, walked away without a word, and went into a butcher's shop. And she walked back out with a stake over her eye, took her place on the corner again, and continued to preach about the event.
Ugh. She exhausts me already now.
Right?
I'm quite tired of her.
For Mrs. Schilling's part, she fucked around and found out some sex workers who'd been there supporting Carrie pulled her away and beat the fuck out of her for punching Carrie in the face.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, sisterhood.
For real. And later that year, David Nation finally filed for divorce.
Oh, he couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, he filed on the grounds of desertion. So they were granted, but Carrie kept the name because she knew it was her brand. She was carrying a nation.
She had a brand identity at the time.
Well, I'll give you a brand.
And yeah, that could be taken another way. She could have, anyway.
But that was kind of it. It was like everyone knows my name now, and I'm carrying my nation by being the temperance person.
Right.
I'm carrying the morals of the nation. Carrie moved over to Guthrie, Oklahoma, but she wasn't even going to think about staying only there. She officially had her MO, and over the next couple years, she went around the country, just smashed and smashed and smashed. And women would join in with her. And she would sell these little hatchet pins to pay for
That's not a bad idea.
Well, she would get arrested at all these places.
More branding.
Yeah. So she got arrested, I think, 30-something times.
Get this woman in advertising.
She what?
Get this woman in advertising.
Right. She was really good at getting her message across. And so the pins that she sold paid for her bail
she knew
whenever
how to get
she got arrested.
Attention.
She also is conducting women's rights marches this whole fucking time. Like, all of this stuff is wrapped up into, like, also give women the right to vote and have representation.
Yeah.
And she takes all fucking sorts of shit. Can you read this one? In Kentucky?
In Kentucky, a barkeeper smashed the 58-year-old grandmother over the head with a chair.
Whoa.
In London, she was pelted with rotten eggs.
Yeah.
At Coney Island, a hail of peanuts and hot dogs preceded an angry New York lynch mob.
Take me out to the ball game, indeed.
Oh, shit. It was hardly the only attempt to hang Carrie Nation from the nearest tree. Despite persistent death threats...
We love our alcohol.
And she fought on. Woo.
Yeah.
Secure in her faith.
Yeah.
Fully embracing the dangers of her activism.
Well, she's secure in her faith because
activism.
She talks to Jesus. Like, yeah,
right,
I get it, ma'am, but like, you can't talk for everyone, you know?
Oh my
she
God.
was ready to die for the cause.
Of course.
Many men wish she would.
Oh, of course.
When a barkeeper, sweating red with rage, once pushed his pistol into her temple,
Oof.
she brushed him aside, saying, "I am not afraid of your gun. Maybe it would be a good thing for a saloon keeper to kill Carrie Nation." Much like the abolitionist martyr John Brown, she was certain her murder would prompt the entire nation to rise up and smash the dives, so it says.
Yes.
A lot of women would rise up,
I love a good dive
yes.
bar, though.
I do
love
too,
a good
yeah.
dive bar.
Yeah. I don't know if the whole nation would rise up. Women.
No.
Many women that she inspired would.
Yeah, and even that, like, that's just kind of a small percentage of women, too. It's the women whose husbands abandon them and are like, it's the alcohol.
Like drinking-related
Yeah.
disfigurements and accidents and deaths.
She releases newsletters she calls The Smasher's Mail and a newspaper called The Hatchet.
My God, seriously, the branding on
can't
this. She has a
stop.
I
newsletter,
know.
subscribers.
Inside these pages are all opinions of Carrie A. Nation.
Oh, God.
She's fine that McKinley got assassinated because he was a secret drinker and he got what he deserved.
Oh, ma'am, you are just going too hard.
This is a bright and dangerous phase of Carrie's life.
Yeah.
And eventually she decides that she's finally done.
Oh, well, I wonder what turned that around.
She's finished with the hatchetations, but she's going to continue her preaching with the Bible. And she still sold the pins because, again, branding. You know. She kind of fades into a little bit of obscurity, and she's up on her temperance bullshit here and there just for the next few years.
Yeah, I didn't think she'd give that up.
She doesn't smash, but she still sings and she preaches and she shames from street corners.
Yeah.
Here, she had kind of lost her luster, so she went to the UK and she did a little vaudeville tour there.
A vaudeville tour?
That was kind of, those were the theaters that would take her.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking she's like dressed up trying to dance and get people's attention through
she
song.
thought that they were like serious, but when she realized that she was basically part of a circus act, she was like, fuck this.
She got invited because they wanted to make fun.
Yeah, so she ripped up the contract and she went back to the States.
It was profitable to hate her.
Yes, very much so. People said that she was crazy. They teased her and she wanted to go back home anyway. So in 1910, she comes back to the States. She opens another hotel and it was called Hatchet Hall.
Oh, here we go. Now
With the
she's
branding.
got a destination. Yeah.
Fucking Hatchet Hall. And this is located in a tiny, gorgeous little town called Eureka Springs, Arkansas.
I was just there in November.
It's so pretty. I would love it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'll have to go camping
It's
there.
a little LGBT little
It's
haven.
tucked up in the Ozark Mountains.
Yeah,
It's great.
very
Side note,
gorgeous.
we should go on a camping trip when the weather finally
yeah,
gets
that'd be
nice
fun.
again.
Yeah.
I would
The,
love that. I'll bring as much. I can get like a cooking grill, like a camping grill thing.
Oh, we have cast iron
I got a lot of
we got
stuff
all that
too.
stuff.
Excellent.
Yeah. There's I think it's called the Glass Chapel is where the wedding was that we were at, but it's like in the middle of the woods up a hill.
Damn.
And all the walls are like glass and you can see through the whole building. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
I'll find it real quick.
Oh, that sounds gorgeous. But okay, so she was in Eureka
So
Hills?
she opens
Eureka
up
Springs.
Hatchet Hall in Eureka Springs.
Okay.
And she takes care of the less fortunate. She continues on with her sermons. One day, during one of her speeches, she proclaimed, "I have done what I could." And then she collapsed.
Oh, okay.
The doctors took her to a sanitarium in Leavenworth, where she was treated for general paresis, the first physical evidence of the second gift bestowed by old Charlie Gloyd.
Oh, I forgot about the second gift. We never talked about it. First gift was kid.
Syphilis.
Oh, no.
Brain
no wonder
disease.
she's talking to Jesus.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was schizophrenia.
She was treated until her death in June 1911.
Man, oh, fucking hell, that's gorgeous. The chapel we're talking about earlier.
Yeah, really pretty.
Wow.
Yeah, my friends got married there.
That's stunning.
Statues, fountains, memorials, all of them have been named in her honor, and she's seen as a hero, a menace, a well-meaning nuisance, a terrible wife, but...
Anybody say anything nice?
The syphilis
Basically,
was the nicest thing about her.
I mean,
it's not her fault.
she ran a good hotel. She was a
she
clean
ran a
person,
good,
and
she ran a good hotel.
really bought into her beliefs.
Yeah.
Because of the brainworms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just like, that and Capone wanted to be called Snorky.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, Al Capone.
Oh my God.
He got syphilis, so he
His
was getting
syphilis
real
messed him
loopy.
up.
Yeah.
And really kind of deranged because it, as you know, syphilis
Right.
eats on the brain eventually. And he wanted to be called Snorky. I don't know if that was because of the syphilis or he's always wanted to be called Snorky, but
Okay,
nobody
I
else
want to be called Snorky.
Snorky's
Well,
all right.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
I forget why he wanted to be called that, but nobody liked it and nobody would do it. Then he got Scarface.
Fucking ridiculous.
Yeah. Anyway.
That's Carrie A Nation.
Wow. I did not
Wow.
know about the syphilis plot twist.
It got her.
I just thought she was, deeply delusional.
That's why I
always.
didn't mention it until the end, because
I
if you
like
went
it.
in
Funny.
thinking that it was
Excellent.
just because of that, you
No,
would
that was
the
a
long
great.
con.
That's a
You're
writer.
welcome.
That's a writer right there.
Oh.
Oh wow. Well, Carrie, I'm sorry, girl, but no.
Sorry, but no.
Just that's all I
Oh
have
my
to say to
God.
her right now.
Sorry, girl, but now.
Way to
Yeah.
go.
I know that you hated free will, but unfortunately, well,
It
not
wasn't
free
that
will.
she hated free
Yeah,
will. It was
I'm
that she hated
generalizing.
that they were these illegal, basically dens where men could go and kind of escape their daily lives.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
And she obviously, it was a lot of fucking projection from her
Yeah.
first husband, who was also an alcoholic.
I can definitely
Absolutely
say
insane.
she took the path less traveled. And I guess that's something nice you can say, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe not. I don't know if that's really nice, but I feel accurate. Carrie girl, no.
Carrie girl.
No. Anyway, what else? Any other thoughts on Carrie, guys?
No, I think I'm all right.
I think we've just I'm glad I know that now.
I think you were right. I think she was just a diminutive woman with like a huge fucking personality.
Yeah.
You know?
Napoleonette, as I would call it.
Yeah.
No doubt. Well, it's been a fucking podcast.
Yep.
It has.
Thanks for joining along for another fun-filled story of a lady who was maybe motivated by questionable things, but nonetheless was trying to do good for people. I like bars, so I'm not going to call her a saint, but
Nah.
I know plenty of drunks too, so there's two sides to every coin.
Yep.
Very
And
true.
it's far from an easy thing to, to talk about.
Nothing's ever black
No,
and white either.
exactly.
Yeah.
The world exists in shades of gray.
All right, gang. Well, until next time.
Oh, actually, if you want to find us anywhere online, you can find us pretty much on all the socials at Well Behaved Women Pod or Well Behaved Women Podcast. And if you want to send us an email, any comments, suggestions, stories that you liked, stories of your own family members, you can email us at wellbehavedwomenpodcast@gmail.com.
Yeah,
That's
if you
right.
haven't some idea of like a person that you want us to cover.
Yeah, anyone we haven't
I'd love to get some ideas from other people.
Always.
Anyone around the world. I would love that.
Yeah. Yeah, because I keep trying to I find ideas. I've already saved a few on TikTok, but I'm like, don't learn too much about them. Don't learn too much about them. Just save it and send it to the Well Behaved Women TikTok account. So
Save
that's what
and
I've been
send,
doing.
Save and send.
Yeah. So anyway, yes, that has been our podcast, a fucking podcast.
Yep.
Podcasting.
Thanks for joining us.
See you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.